Welcome to Diversified Lifelong Advisors, where our mission is to have you live in a life filled with wealth, health, and happiness. My name is Andrew Rosen, one of the partners at Diversified Lifelong Advisors and the president. Today, I have a very special guest. Some of you recognize, some of you should recognize, and all of you after today will recognize. So today I have my good friend, Irv Rosenzweig. So Irv is not just a friend. He is not just a 1,000 degree black belt or a badass biker dude. He happens to be the old principal and owner of RZ Wealth, which is now merged into Diversified Lifelong Advisors, and he is lending his talents and his years of expertise to us. So I thought it would be appropriate to have him on today so we can learn from him and introduce him to all of you and vice versa. Thanks for joining me today, Irv.
My pleasure. Thank you, Andrew.
Absolutely. Absolutely, my friend. So let's start off. Let's tell all of our wonderful clients and friends about Irv.
Boy, did you open a can of worms. Well, let me start by apologizing for that 1925 TV that's behind me. So let's start with that. But I'm happy to say that I'm entering my 35th year in financial services and really excited with this year because of the merger and the opportunity that we all have through Diversified Lifelong Advisors. I think it's a great opportunity for both my clients and our team. But I'll get into a little bit more about that later. The teammates here are very excited, and we see a lot of opportunity for everybody involved. So my background in business began when I was 21 years old. My brother and my cousin who was from New Jersey and actually worked in the Catskills, came to the Midwest. So I grew up in St. Paul, Minnesota. And by the way, Andrew, I said that two of your other guests were from frozen tundra. I enjoyed Ms. Richer, I guess, out of Canada. And then that other gentleman who actually grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I pale by comparison of their achievements, but it was fun to see that a lot of us come from the frozen tundra.
Yeah, you're nicer out there. You're nice,
We don't know any better.
Fair enough.
I think is what the problem is. But again, when I was 21, my brother and my cousin wanted to start a restaurant. My cousin had been in the Catskills. He had grown up in the restaurant business there. My brother actually was a chef in the Army, and they brought me in for some expertise, although I was still attending college. And that was in 1976, by the way. So that goes back a ways. But we actually started a restaurant called Great Expectations, which became instantly popular. We were by McAllister College, which is at the time where Bob Dylan's son was going to college. And I think he was actually a guest to our restaurant. And that first year, we became one of the new top 10 restaurants of the area. And business exploded. We doubled in size and things like that. I actually then became trapped because that's what happens with the restaurant business. I became trapped in the restaurant business for about the next 10 years. And after we sold that business, because my brother was fed up with it, he wanted to travel to Europe. I was the youngest general manager of a couple of pretty large restaurant chains in the Midwest. So that's a little bit about her from a business sense, and happy to expand on that.
Yeah, well, let's keep going and talk about what inspired you and what that bridge was from restaurateur to financial services. And I know through our conversations, you've been in different segments of the business before going out on your own. But what was that moment that made you say, I can do better here. I can impact lives. I can inspire in the financial service business? Because connect those dots for us.
The moment was when I figured out that the schedule was terrible. We did breakfast, lunch, dinner, bar rush, and really to back that up a little bit. When I was in the restaurant business, I was an investor. I was buying real estate. I was doing, fix ups and turnarounds, and again, I was in my 20s. So I was doing that. I was actually investing in securities. and I was pretty good at it. And restaurants have, I know that you have a background in that as well, and people don't appreciate what goes into that. But when you think about it, scheduling, personnel, and people are extremely particular about their food. Um, I say food, health, and money, which kind of ties into wealth, health, and happiness. But those are the three biggest concerns that a client has. And I figured, okay, well, let me go from concern number 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever number it rates to number 1 to money, because I had the skill sets. I knew how to run a business. I knew how to do financial planning effectively because I did it every day within the context of the restaurant, and I knew how to invest. With the experience that I have now, you can't go out and hang up a shingle to do that.
Sure.
At the time, I was married, so she wanted to get out of the restaurant business first because that's where we met. So I worked while she got out. She went into insurance, and then she got that job, and then she worked while I got out of the restaurant business, took my tests, and started working with a firm that was mostly insurance based. And that would have been in 86.
And that was common back then. The insurance base was sort of how the business was, and which we'll get into at some point here today, where it's sort of gone to.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
So let's rest at that one, because it'll tie together a little bit further as you continue to find out a little bit more about me and the objectives and things like that.
Yeah, no, sure. Okay, so you went from the restaurant business, you got into the insurance world, in the sort of financial planning, if you will, and then you went out on your own when?
Let me think of the year. So in 86, quickly again, the insurance world, that only lasted a little bit. It lasted long enough for me to get my series, my exams, and to begin my studies for certified financial planner. Because I always felt for me to be the best I could be for the client, I should be educated that much more completely. And you always laugh about my designations, but I have a lot of them. I kept going.
As many degrees of black belt, you have designations.
Yeah, for sure. So I left that, and then I went into banking financial services, which was also popular back then.
Sure.
It was when it was called the Glass-Steagall Act, when that was kind of falling. So now banks could get into financial services, and then I spent about 15 years in banking financial services, and these were chains of banks, and I was nationally ranked. I was usually in the top 5 of both of those firms, so I was pretty successful about that. I went from one bank at the time. This is the .com era. So, for anybody that went through that was pretty bad.
Oh yeah, that's when I started my career.
Yeah, very bad. So I would always go back to like the chief economist of the financial services firm and say, look, can we get handholding, not only from the advisor perspective, but from the client perspective? Can we get a sense of what's going on, what to do? And it was the same MO. It was basically stay the course and whatever. And that's not what was happening. Things were blowing up because they were fictitious or speculative types of investments. We're seeing a little bit of that now. So Jerry Maguire, I'm not sure when that movie came out, but he did a mission statement, right?
Oh yeah.
I did my own mission statement to the bank. I wasn't ready to leave, but I basically said, look, you're not taking care of the client. You're more or less sort of where Wells Fargo was in trouble with, opening up these accounts, cross-selling, just a lot of things that were not client-centric, even though banks are the first firms that tell you, oh, we care about the client. Well, after working with a few of them, I can tell you, they really don't. So I wrote my Jerry Maguire. I said, look, here's what needs to happen. And it wasn't a demand for me. It wasn't a demand for more money. I was doing great. It was a demand for taking care of the client. And they effectively laughed at me. And I left right after 911. So, I had already put my feelers out, considered where I was going to go. And I think we left maybe less than 30 days after 911. and we went to UBS Financial Services, and they had made some commitments to me. And because of 911, they were basically retracting those commitments. In other words, having a branch in the media area, media PA, which is where I have most of my clients and stuff like that.
Right.
So that required me to kind of look at a different channel. And I ended up going independent through a division of UBS. And that kind of began.
That was the birth of RZ Wealth.
Exactly.
Okay. And it's I can speak candidly from my perspective. One of the things that resonated with me during our conversation to make this merger of sorts happen was your commitment to the client experience and value. And I know that's what drew us to each other, because as you wanted to make sure for your legacy and for long-term planning for your clients, that wherever we merge, and same with ours, that it kept that front and center, because that is why we're here. It's how we're in business. And it's what I know is passionate in my life. So, okay. So you're now on your own. You created this fantastic business, which is now part of Diversified Lifelong Advisors. And you've met with thousands of clients and managed hundreds of millions of dollars and done really neat stuff and a lot of great accomplishments. How have you seen, let's talk tangible, let's talk stories, let's talk how your life's work has impacted your clients. How have you seen your relationship and partnership with them and friendship? Because I know how you handle your clients, which is much like us. How have you seen that impact their lives?
So one of the benefits of getting older is that you get to see stuff. Get to see more stuff the longer you live. So what we were able to see was second and third generation clients, and in that sense, I'm going to quote something that probably predates a lot of you, but if anybody remembers the A Team, which is where Mr. T came about.
B.A. Baracus.
Yeah, exactly. So Hannibal Smith, who was like the commander of that, he would always say, "I love it when a plan comes together." That was his quote.
Of course.
So they'd have a successful mission. The mission was completed, and that was his comment. Well, in this business, I've gotten to see a boatload of plans come together. From people starting out, acquiring their first house, maybe buying a second home, putting their kids through college, considering retirement, considering an estate plan. And I've been around long enough that we've seen that play out in the sense of benefiting the second and now third generations. So that's quite humbling, to see. I mean, it's obviously sad to lose a client, but to know what that client intended for their family, and being a spokesman for that client who is now deceased, to assist the second, third generations in having this play out is actually pretty cool. Now, again,
it's powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And again, to do it right, you should have the tools to do it right. Organization, certainly, why we're together is one of those major tools, but having the intellectual capital and having the training. And again, that's why, again, it was important for us to have credentials. I know that you guys are certified financial planners as well. I mean, that's basic. I mean, for you to work with an advisor, or a client to work with an advisor that really didn't care enough to go the extra mile to prepare and train to be a better advisor to that client, it should say something.
Yeah, no, I firmly agree with that. That's inspiring to me, because it's what we're trying to accomplish together, I know. So, okay, I don't want to put words into your mouth, and unfortunately for you, we can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, as they say. So right. You decided to merge your practice into ours, and we're thankful for it. I know that much. And tell us why now, What about now is the right time for you to do this? And why Diversified? I mean, I love my company, but why us?
Well, now I guess it's timing. Look, I tell people it's a great time to be an investor. There's stuff out there that only institutions can invest in. Just a short time ago, there's a lot of different types of products. There's a lot of avenues. There's a lot of strategies. The issue with that is that there's not a lot of people that know how to use it. Use the tools that are available to them. So it's a great time and it's a hard time. I wanted to make sure that I was working with a team that was fresh because obviously I've got some years behind. I did not want to burn out. I did not want to continue on in a sense that I was not really contributing to the value of the client. And if you do the job right, it's demanding. It's hard, because you're answering a lot of hard questions for clients, and you bear the responsibility for clients. So timing would be the major reason in the sense that I did not want to burn it. I'm still fresh. I still have great ideas. I'm still very active and things like that. So it was important. It was also difficult for us to get to the next level, because frankly, it's difficult to build a team that is all, you say it all the time, rowing in the same direction. You guys have been able to do that. We've tried to hire in to do that. We've got good advisors on staff, but as far as having really the infrastructure we needed to go to the next level, which we had the opportunity to do, it was a difficult thing. So you can either cultivate it organically, or you can look to find a partner effectively to do it, and that's direction that we chose. But we felt that with Diversified. You guys have a great organization. You're focused on the success of the clients as well as your people. You have a process. You're forward thinking. You continue to deliver on your commitment. That was really important to me. That it was not a BS type of environment. It was a great opportunity for our clients as well as our staff. And frankly, I had spoken to a number of firms along the way, and actually I've made some mistakes. The mistakes gave me a better sense of what to look for in people as well as organizations, and to confirm that the organization was truly built for the success of the clients and the personnel.
Yeah, no, and that's kind. And interestingly enough, same on our side from the fact that we looked and came close with other outfits to partner with, to consolidate with. And when you really started peeling back the onion, there wasn't enough substance there, and it left us empty, and we didn't need that, nor wanted to add that to our offering, right? We're looking at this as additive in this partnership. So, okay. So you mentioned you've been in the business for 84 years and you're now a part of our executive team in a lot of different regards. What are you hoping that all those decades of experience can help bring to the table of the overall mission?
So perspective, for the most part, like I'm always of the opinion that smart people eventually come to the same conclusions, but they all different paths. So, when I've gone to top producer events and I've had a little bit of background. I've run the closing bell at the New York Stock Exchange with celebrities from CNBC and Barron's.
That's cool. That's on my bucket list, by the way.
I've been listed in Barron's as one of the top 1,000 advisors in the nation. There's been some pretty cool stuff. So I've had the opportunity to meet really top shelf advisors, and it's interesting in the sense that these people have come to the same conclusion. They all did it differently, but they kind of came to the same conclusion about how they wanted to treat their clients, how they wanted to run the business and things like that. So I think, more often than not, when we speak on the executive team and things like that, even before that, we're totally on the same page. We may come at it from a different perspective and different angle, but I think we're in total agreement about what the next step is and where we want to go and grow together. So I think that's pretty cool. But so it's a perspective aspect of things. It's the experience aspects of things. It's the fact that I survived different economic situations.
Yeah, you can't teach that.
Yeah, you can. So history is something, and I feel that by conveying those experiences and perspective, through the executive team and through receptive people like yourself and Mike Fisher, the CEO of the firm, that it's going to build a better mousetrap. It's going to build a more sustainable approach and policy and process, which you guys have already, really to the benefit of our clients and to our people.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay. So as you know, because it was front and center when we started talking, one of the things that we're very passionate about here is helping to encourage and enable and improve our clients' wealth, health, and happiness. How do you feel your work, how do you feel what you've done personally has addressed that? And it may not be all three, naturally, although you keep threatening to get me to a karate class, but talk about that, maybe more specifically wealth and happiness, because it's, I know, two key things why we're put on this earth, you and I, and blessed in this business.
So we're living through COVID right now, and that's an especially stressful environment. And we all know that stress can be the number one factor that derails all aspects concerning wealth, health, and happiness. So foremost, we really do try to take the stress off the plate of our clients. We try to give them sound ideas. Your passion for being able to do a one-stop shop effectively, for people to do all things that are important to their financial plan. And, we bring something to the table with our insurance division, Mid-Atlantic, and certain other aspects, because, it's unique. Your logo, Diversified, that's the financial pyramid. That's a triangle. We used to start every meeting by showing a picture of the triangle and say, you build your base first. The base is building, things that manage risk, because, and unfortunately that's not being heard today by a lot of people that are trading, speculative stocks and things like that. They go right to the top of the food chain and they speculate, they lose money, and then they may be out of the market forever. That's not the way you invest. You invest fundamentally. You build your base, you manage the risk, and then you kind of climb up the ladder for there. So again, our goal is to take the stress off the plate of our clients. And the beauty of working with a team that is committed to doing the right thing, and that shares a workload, through the team environment. So that's important. I mean, for somebody to own the stress individually, it's too much. We need to build a team, and we need to build an infrastructure, which you guys have, to support that. The karate does tie in. Martial arts is built on honor and humility. I mean, it's built on it's kind of interesting. You should see it for the kids. I mean, you would love it for your kids. You should come and see how one of the instructors trains. But he'll sit them in a circle, and he'll read, some of the things that are from, I'm not sure when the samurai were around, I guess the 1100s or something like that. I mean, a long time ago, and read about how the samurai carried themselves, and what the benefits of honor and humility brought to the table in being able to share experiences and things like that. So martial arts has really taught me a lot. And my first school, Korean martial arts, which is where I got my first black belt, is in Taekwondo, Tang Soo Do. There was something, Korean letters that basically spelled out body, mind, and spirit. So if that doesn't connect almost directly to wealth, health, and happiness, I don't know what does.
Right. No, I agree. And that peace of mind thing, or I think you used the stress relief, I found that to be huge for clients and individuals. I don't know. I mean, we have a company with now 21 employees and dedicated to different disciplines of the financial planning sort of wheel. And I don't know how one person can even begin to try to do it themselves, at least effectively. And so I agree. Watching that peace of mind as people slowly shift their trust and their partnership over to us is something that's strong with me as well. So, okay, so that's a big one. And of course, the code of the samurai is also a big thing. So I appreciate that. Irv, staying on the happiness thing, I always ask everyone I interview, what makes them happy? So the same thing to you. I mean, I know, I think I wrote down a guess what your answer is going to be, but let's hear it. So what makes Irv happy at the end of the day?
So that's a work in progress, but honestly, because there is a lot of stress and there's a lot of responsibility. I take joy in it. Like I said, I like it when a plan comes together, but there's a lot on our shoulders. If we do this job right. I mean, a lot of people actually take this job as a lifestyle occupation because they can work short hours, make a lot of money. I don't consider that doing the job correctly. For me, it's foremost family, that brings me happiness. And it's not just who I love, it's not just my kids, my grandkids, et cetera, but it's also the work family and the client family. You work with somebody for 3 decades, they're family. I mean, you feel it when they, if they lost a spouse. I mean, it's hard, it's hard in that regard. And you want to be there for them. And again, I firmly believe, even though there's a lot of people now that are considering, okay, let me go move in the country now. I want to be alone for whatever reason, politics, the environment, whatever. There's been a lot of stress on everybody. I think people crave people. I mean, it's why society developed in the first place. And yeah, there's a give and take associated with the society, but the benefit is that you're amongst people.
Right.
So I think we miss the relationships and things like that. For now, I'm happy to be able to provide important work to our clients and in mentoring others that I work with. I think, it's great to share experiences and not have that die off, down the road. So I think that's key. In going forward, I'd like to take some more time to visit both this country, and I've done coast to coast motorcycle tours, or I've done motorcycling up into the mountains, or I've done, it's been pretty cool. And people actually respond to you differently when you're on a motorcycle and you're touring the country. It's actually pretty cool. I mean, people that you would never think would talk to you, they come up and they want to share stories with you and stuff like that. So it's actually a very cool way to see the country. And I'd actually like to spend a little bit more time going outside of the country. My daughter, I didn't mention the fact that I'm a child Holocaust survivor. So we did not start in a blue chip position. My dad was sponsored to come to the States after both my dad and mom were in prison and concentration camps. And he started off as a meat cutter. I started off as a very blue collar, beginning. It was a struggle. We were in a ghetto. The ghetto, growing up in Minnesota, ghetto didn't have a lot of heat. I'd be in the hospital with pneumonia. It was not easy. But my daughter, actually, those experiences of the Holocaust and things like that have resonated with my daughter. So she's been back to see some of that culture, the difficult culture. She's been to Poland. She's been to, she's seen concentration camps. She's also been to Tibet and met with some indigenous people and done some, charitable work and things like that. I'd like the opportunity to do that as well down the road.
Cool. Interestingly enough, it's not going to air today, but today is actually Holocaust Remembrance Day, right, which is, certainly a day that weighs on both of your and my heart pretty heavily.
Right.
So, okay. Last question that I always ask. So right now, this message is going out to close to 1,000 of our collective clients, to thousands of friends and prospective clients and relationships we have. And you have a lot of insight and intellect to share. So if you're going to leave us with one key thing to remember, you said a lot of impactful stuff. I love all your message, and clearly, right, we now work together. But what would be that one thing you want people to remember, resonate for tomorrow, forever?
So I believe that at Diversified, we mean what we say and we say what we mean. And it's a difficult situation for the client, because oftentimes when we're in the midst of talking to a client and things like that, I sit back and I'm thinking, okay, how many times has a client heard a similar story? Oh, we're going to take care of you. We're interested in your well-being. Every advisor is going to say the same story, but do they really mean it? Are they really focused? And how do you convey that to a client? How do you differentiate where the client says, okay, I just heard 5 of you, but I believe you. What can we say that we can really show the conviction that we have, and really show that the honesty that we have relative to that. And I don't know the answer to that. I would say they should look at the background. They definitely want somebody who's got designations, certified financial planner, or something like that, because otherwise that advisor is not invested in their own career to do the best for the client. So there's certain criteria that they want to look at. They want to look at financial stability. They want to look at infrastructure. They want to look at commitment. You have a rule that I adopted years ago from the phone companies. Bella PA always would say we get back to you within the same business day. That's right in your message. That's right in your message that, look, we may not have the answer, but we'll get back to you and say, okay, we don't have the answer, but we're working. The client deserves that level of commitment and service. Think about what we do and how humbling it is. It's like, okay, here's our money. We want to buy a house. We want to educate our kids. We want to retire, and we want to have a nice estate. God forbid, when something happens to us, pass on. I mean, think about that. Think about what we have to do, or what we should do for that client. The client is in a vulnerable position to make the right choice. So the message is, we are the real deal. Like I said, we say what we mean what we say, and just check us out, ask us any question you want to, try us out, and I think we'll prove ourselves to you in hands down.
That's awesome. So, Irv, thank you for giving me your time today. Insightful as always. I'm sure all our listeners will appreciate it. Of course, listeners, share this with anyone you think would also enjoy the message. Irv, thanks for joining our team. Thanks for your team joining our team. They are fantastic men and women. And I know we are in this together to try to create something special for our clients. And you and your team will be integral in the maturation and growth of that process. So thank you, Irv. As always, everyone, I'm Andrew Rosen. Please stay wealthy, stay healthy, stay happy. And until next time, talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you, Andrew.